To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes Build Events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Start your engines! And for the first time this season, the Saturday Night Racing League, presented by M&J Distributors, is underway at Daytona.
Sorry for the wait. Didn't think I'd come up, just need a little faith. I've been patient, just waiting.
It's killing this line because McWhorter can't complete the pass, and he's sideways off the corner, and he held on to it. Oh, Shadow gets turned into turn number 3. McWhorter, Klinger, all in the outside wall. Caution is out. We're going to get a late race restart. Joshua Banks coming out of turn number 4, win number 6 in Saturday Night Racing League, first of the season for the 35. He gets it done in Dover.
The new winner this season, the 09 of Chad Klinger, off of turn 4. He will be victorious tonight at Phoenix. But the 73 of Joseph McWhorter is going to be your season 2 champion. Here he comes off of turns 3 and 4. It sounds like he saved enough fuel. Seth Hatchell, with an excellent strategy, is going to win here tonight at Kentucky Speedway.
Banks takes him 3 wide down the backstretch for the lead. Look at this, 3 wide again. The top 3 still 3 wide for the lead. Banks on the inside, right in the middle, Kevin on the outside.
I can't believe what I'm watching right now.
Let me tell him one time, I've been on the grind. This is my prime. Let me tell him one time, I've been on the grind.
Pull those belts tight. You're watching Saturday Night Racing League, only on VSPEED.
Well, it's a peach in Georgia, the track that we remember from 2008, here tonight for week number 5. And the Saturday Night Racing League, presented by M&J Distributors, is coming back to Legacy, Atlanta this week on VSPEED. Welcome in, everybody. I am your host, Bradley Cooper. Alongside me all season long, Connor Horn in the booth. Connor, this track takes me back to when stock car racing was all about who could manage the tires, who could keep the car underneath of them when the right rear was stepping out, the horsepower, the high octane fuel. It really does bring back a lot of memories of Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick across the start finish line with, a couple thousandths of a second. This is just a historic place to be.
Definitely a historic place to be. Happy we're here. It's kind of a staple of the Saturday Night Racing League series. We've been here all 4 seasons. This league has been a thing, and this should be one of the better races that we've seen here. And you talk about driving off the right rear tire. That's hard to do in a next-gen car. These things want to drive off the right front. If you get sideways, you're likely hitting the wall hard, so this is going to be a very treacherous race with very high track temps right now, and not a cloud in the sky at this 1.54 mile racetrack quad oval. You're going to have a lot of people slipping and sliding in the quad oval, tri-oval, whatever you want to call it. You're going to see people sliding all around this track. The tire wear is going to be very, very extreme all throughout. You're going to see drivers trying to run the bottom, trying to run the top. Anthony George is not very forgiving on this old surface.
It's absolutely not, but it is one of the tracks that if you have talent, if you have the ability, it definitely can pay off. A lot of practice laps here to start this thing out. A lot of drivers that we've seen have success in maybe a Gen 4 or a B-class car might struggle here tonight. We'll have to wait and see how it all pans out. Race analysis up on your screen. 140 laps here today with a 103-degree track temperature. These 4 tires are going to be at a premium 45-mile-per-hour pit road speed limit, 3 green, white checkered attempts, 80% fuel on the iRacing fixed setup, as we've ran all season long. I tell you what, Connor Horn, the points, they are, I mean, they're all over the place. But what's completely shocking to me is we had that record-setting race last week at Kern County with the luck. Bailey Turner, I don't know if that guy buys lottery tickets, but I would be buying them right now.
Yeah, and there was definitely some good fortune that went his way, but he put himself yet again in a position to get some good breaks and win a race, and he did it again, 4 in a row. He'll look for 5. I think it'll be a lot tougher. He is starting a little bit further back than he wants to, but can't count him out with a 45-point lead over J.R. Shepard. A great start of a season for the 98. Christopher Hodges, Donald Kite, Max Cost. The top 5, besides Bailey Turner, I would say is completely unexpected. Even the rest of the top 10. Shinosky 7th, Villalobos 9th, Ray Massey 10th. You still got series champions outside the top 10. Jeff Wright is just outside the top 10. Adam Cabot's always a staple of this series. He's not full-time, but he's at least 19th in points. Joshua Banks, Joseph McWhorter, not even on the screen, and they've had a few blows to their races the past few weeks. Obviously, Banks lagged out last week. Wasn't really in his control. But Joseph McWhorter, he at least finished last week, but that's the only race he has finished, and he only finished around 19th position. They got to get something going here. The season's going to fly by with no off weeks until the chase.
With that, let's take you trackside now, get the grid up on the screen, and starting on the pole here tonight, Adam Cabot in the number 17, a 31.070, 9 thousandths faster than Jeff Wright. They'll come into week number 5 with Adam Cabot on the pole. Row number 2 belongs to J.R. Shepard, Joshua Banks, who had that connection issue, as you mentioned there last week. He's going to start in the 4th position. Jordan Trass and Ryan Carwile in row number 3. Row number 4, Michael Sturgill, Alec Martinez back out on the racetrack in 8th. And rounding out your top 10, Chad Klinger, Ben Baffert in the number 42.
He'll be 40 on our ticker, but 42 on the track. AJ Stravato, who once again had a run with Chad Klinger last week. At least he would have gotten a decent finish out of it. He will start 11th position. Angelo Horonis alongside him in 12th, who's also top 10 in points. Reggie Ortega, a series winner in the past, but still looking to get back to victory lane, 13th. Josh Adams, who had a good run going last week, 14th. Not in that well for him, though. Joseph McWhorter, this is a driver to watch. He needs a good run. He needs a clean run today. He will start 15th alongside Elliot Butler, who's making his league return. I believe his first start of the season. I believe he missed Daytona, but he'll start 16th in the 16. Bailey Turner, this is the guy to watch. 17th position. He's looking for 5 in a row to extend that mark, but he has work to do. He'll start alongside Brian Chambliss in 18th. The 19th position will go to Dakota Floyd in the 57, and Kenny Kibbe will start 20th.
21st, Ray Massey, Caleb Weekly, 22nd. 23rd, Stephen Davis with Nick Hapiak in 24th. Some of the juicy Spider guys back there. Shout out to them. Clark Ganekin in the 25th position. Max Cost. Shout out to Max Cost. It's been a while. He's up 5th in points. Great start to the season for the 63 machine, starting 26th. Tyler Johar, 27th position. Matt Shinosky in 28th. And the 41 of Morgan Lilly and Casey Lakatos round out the top 30.
Tyler Dohar did not make the field, so everyone else in that lane moves up. Threll Kell 31st, Nick Wood 32nd. And then right behind them, the 33rd position will be Mike Sturgill in 53. Noah Mahalski way back in 34th position to start the night. So they're a little stacked up there. Keith Shoemaker 35th, Brandon Walls 36th. Ben Laughter, I believe, did not make the field. Donnie Kite did. He will start where he would have. Broderick Lavick did not make the field, and Austin Belke did make the field in that Exalta scheme.
We got Mark McFadden and Eddie Trejo here on the tail end. John Sanu not making the field. Brian Hennings, not sure if Rob Denton, some of these guys are chartered in, but I think it's time to go green flag racing for week number 5 from Atlanta at 2008. Green flag is out, and its legacy, Saturday night racing style. And coming by to lead lap number 1, Jeff Wright by about 0.02 of a second. Gets that lap led just over Adam Cabot. Takes the high line as they come through 1 and 2. He has the advantage on the exit of this corner. He will carry on down the backstretch and pull away.
It's going to be really hard to make passes on the bottom line. Darn near impossible unless someone wears the tires out that much. These tires are fresh now. They're only going to be fresh for maybe another set of corners or so. These, as you can see, Cabot with the aero wash really pushing wide to the outside wall. These drivers are going to be trying to go as long as they can on fuel. They're going to be close on making it. No, they're not actually. 80% fuel tank. They will not be able to make it to lap 70, but you're still going to run these tires longer than they want to go. Probably about to lap 40 to 50, somewhere in that range. These drivers are going to try to save tire, but that is easier said than done here.
You saw Cabot peek to the inside, just like you said. It's so tough to pass down there, and mainly what it is we'll ride on board here with Adam Cabot. You have a big push up. As you're trying to exit these corners, the banking here is, it's not so much progressive, but it's a little uneven. You have really steep banking right here in this portion. Then there's a little bump here, and now it starts to shallow out at the exit. Before you even get to the backstretch, you have probably 10 degrees less banking. So where a lot of guys will like to jettison out to that wall, you can't do that here. And so if you're down on the bottom, you're most likely going to be out next to the wall and hit the car that you're trying to pass.
Yeah, and you've got to be very careful. We already see side-by-side racing back there. I think Baffert Martinez in some side-by-side action. Reggie Ortega on the outside of Michael Sturgill, who wrecked from the lead last week. You got to be very careful. Everyone's going to be running the bottom, mostly at the front of the field to start this race. By the time we probably get to lap 20, we will see drivers running the outside wall in 1 and 2. That's where I prefer to be. And then 3 and 4, the way outside is a little bit too bumpy compared to 1 and 2 on the wall. You're going to be running that middle seam in the racetrack where Adam Cabot just ran, just putting your left sides on that seam to get through the middle of the corner. That's where the sweet spot's going to be, I think, later in this race as the tires wear out, as the runs get longer, as they go side by side for the lead again. This is a madhouse 5th on back.
Back up front, though, there's side by side again, and a peek to the inside. You got to wonder, too, for Adam Cabot's sake, how much tire do you think he's using down there, Connor, when he dives to the inside and tries to make that pass, or is he conserving his stuff by running that lower line?
I think he's trying to conserve as much as he can, but just by being in Jeff Wright's dirty air, that percentages on the tires that iRacing shows you as a driver, they're going to be accelerated just from being in that dirty air. As Jeff Wright, the race leader, is the first one to jump the way high line. They're going to look 3 wide. Wright's almost in the wall, but they're going to sort that out. But just being in dirty air is going to wear your tires out. That's why clean air is so valued in these next-gen cars. It makes a huge difference. Even the Xfinity cars, any NASCAR vehicle, that clean air helps your tires out so much. You do not want to be stuck behind someone you're slower than, but it's still going to be so tough to pass tonight that you're going to have no choice.
We're on board here with J.R. Shepard. Started in 3rd position, has fallen all the way back to 10. Maybe a little bit on the conservation side for the 98. He's now going back on offense. He'll get around Alec Martinez. Martinez down 3 positions, started up there in about 8th spot. So some of these drivers dialing things back. And, you know, we talked about last week at Kern County a little bit in the pre-races, very caution-plagued, and we've had kind of an unusual Cup Series here. Remember all the caution-free races we were treated to last season? I think partial to the car count, maybe a factor in that, with the talent level here. I think tonight, if we're going to see our first caution-free race, this could be it.
We'll just have to wait and see. I'm not going to bet on that because you never know, but if things get spread out here, the better they will become. And you're going to see drivers move all around, and that will help this track get spaced out. 43 cars all over the place soon enough as Wright, Cabot, Banks, Carwell, Baffert the top 5, and I'm not too surprised to see Alec Martinez dropping down the order. Whenever he comes out the race, this is his strategy. He saves the tires way hard, pins it to the bottom of the racetrack on the white line, just conserves as hard as he can. Then once we're near maybe the middle portion of the run, then that's when he starts to step it up a little bit. So I think 15 laps or so, 15 laps or so, we'll see him come up through the field. As Bailey Turner, he's found his way up through the field just a little bit, up to about the 14th position, as Banks took second from Adam Cabot, and at 24, trying to make even more history.
So we're looking 3 wide here through 1 and 2. Turner not afraid to do it, as the 33 of AJ Stravato to the inside. He will clear down the backstretch up to P12, up 5 spots. Dakota Floyd also on the move. 57 Ray Brigg Machine up to 11th, flirting with the top 10. Adam Cabot, maybe a connection issue here.
Yeah, that quality dropped, and he's somehow brought back. He got very fortunate with that. Usually you're out that long, you're done, but he stays in P3 for the time being as Banks wants that lead from Jeff Wright, as Cabot's just kind of watching these two run different lines and going at it, kind of sitting back, as is Ryan Carwell, who's kept the 4th position after starting 6th. Bafford's up 5 spots right behind him. At least inside the top 10 or so, things have sorted out a little bit, as that was a really tight moment. Cabot up the track. Banks gonna lose this spot right back.
Banks got a little loose. I saw some tire smoke there from the 35. We were just talking about Cabot having the connection issue, and 3rd place was presented by NordVPN. Now he's back up to 2nd.
Well, you know, at a track like this, when you're trying to save tires, you're trying to wrap that bottom line, or you just want to be on the bottom line in general. You get a little too close to it, you're going to get yourself sideways. He hit the apron with the left side to kick the right rear out a little bit, and he lost that spot back. Sliding the tires like that are your worst nightmare because you're not going to get that grip back. You cannot recycle the tires and then just find grip again. He's going to be dealing with that the rest of the run, and we still got 30 laps before any potential pit stops.
Yeah, once you make a mistake like that, this car especially unforgiving. What I've noticed the most here about this car is it will tell you nothing until it's too late. So you have to discipline yourself to drive it correctly and not push it. At any point, it'll just keep saying, like, you're fine, everything's good. It's that independent rear end, and as soon as it's given up, you'll find out in the outside wall.
Yeah, like as we were talking about with how twitchy these cars are, you have to drive them off the right front, not the right rear, and for drivers not used to that, you think you can save it when you get on the right rear. 9 times out of 10, you can't. You're going to overcorrect into a wall, take out maybe half a dozen cars at the least, as Thorkel scrapes it. But no harm, no foul there. But that's another thing you got to be worried about. You got to be worried about the drivers around you. And at a track, this is a driver's track. You're always racing the track more so than the drivers itself. But once you bring 42 other drivers into the equation, it makes things really, really difficult.
On board here with Logan Threlkeld in the number 12, currently in 27th position. As the 41 of Morgan Lilly just in front of him there. They keep peaking 3 wide, but this will kind of give you an example of what we were talking about.
And he keeps peaking 3 wide. I saw a 73 probably 5 seconds up the road slide a little bit, but you can see Logan trying to take his time, but also having to fend off Brian Chambliss, the Bucky's number 9 to his inside. But you can see trying to keep the wheel as smooth as possible, but if you keep the wheel as smooth as possible, chances are you're probably only 30% on the throttle at a track with this little grip. You're either fighting the wheel with a lot more throttle in it, or you're pretty smooth on the wheel and not too much throttle. You can't really do both.
Pass for the 6th position. And Baffert just went to the outside of Angela Hurones. We are 17 laps green now from Atlanta. Jeff Wright has led every single one of them thus far in the Cherry Pepsi number 48. Looking pretty stout, starting to pull a little bit away from the rest of this field.
Cabot and Banks, at least in 1 and 2, they're still very committed to the low line, as Jeff Wright he's probably the earliest one of any of the top 5 to move it up to the high side in turns 1 and 2, and he's moved it up to the middle in 3 and 4 as well. While Cabot is searching at the way high line 3 and 4. I just think it's too bumpy to do anything up there, while Banks still runs the bottom at both ends of the racetrack. But you're already seeing drivers trying to experiment on the early portion of this run, as already the times are falling off. Jeff Wright ran a 31.8 last time by. That's already 1 second off of his fastest time in under 20 laps.
Carry on here for lap 19. Starting to accordion a little bit here. Ryan Carlisle to the inside for 3rd position.
Oh, we got cars all over the place down the back. I don't know what happened. I think something happened to Noah Mahovsky. And he has a lot of right front damage. I think it's had something to do with him. He keeps it straight. We stay green, but he's going to have to repair all of that damage.
After the speed instant replay. Saturday Night Racing League presented by M&J Distributors. And he gets a little loose. And there's what we're talking about in the pre-race. Ray Massey, the job to not get into the back of him, but what we were talking about earlier, Connor, where this car just snaps to the right. If you're trying to save it, it's really difficult.
Talking about earlier, we were talking about 3 minutes ago. Once you happen sideways, your best bet is either lock it down right then and there or just spin it out. You're rarely going to get to save it without overcorrecting it. And that's just a product of this race car and how it's built. That's not surprising to see. It's the first one we've really seen take a big hit, as he'll go multiple laps down, but hopefully maybe a yellow in a few laps, and he can get some lucky dogs. But he's definitely going to be down a few laps if he chooses to get back in this race. As you can see the top 10 kind of getting closer to each other, while there's a pretty big disconnect from the top 10 all the way back to the rest of the field.
And this is back here with Bailey Turner. Some of these guys that were maybe in save mode for a little bit too long. And so that's the fine line as well, where you're saving tires, you're dialing things back, but if you let this field get too far ahead of you, you'll never have the opportunity to catch back up to them before we hit green flag pit stops. So now it's finding that happy medium. You got clean air here for the 24, and really and truly, I think for Bailey Turner, it's probably just a matter of let's get top 10 finishes to run out the regular season. I don't think he has any reason to push things and get involved with anything beyond his control.
Someone's in the wall behind him. That might have been McWhorter. Oh, Stravato. Oh, Stravato still trying to catch it. One of the few drivers that'll hold on to a slide like that. That was treacherous, as his good buddy Chad Klinger will get the spot from him because of that. But it's near impossible to save those without jabbing the brake, and he did a good job. You can see McWhorter kind of in the wall, maybe forces a lower exit right there, snaps, and he had it, then he almost didn't have it, then he had it again. Almost got into Shepherd. He did a good job, but that's how difficult these things are. We're still only halfway, maybe less than halfway through a fuel run, as that is probably the closest pack within the top 10 right now. Even the pack third on back is still pretty tight. So we're starting to see Joshua Banks fade off pretty harshly there. We know how aggressive he is on the tires. Short run, this is a product of that. At a track like this, it's going to show.
Yeah, you saw the tire smoke. We're right on board now with the driver of the 35, Joshua Banks. Sponsor here with M&J Distributors and Matco Tools. And a wicked awesome paint scheme. Really like the next gen that he brought out here. And it's very distinguished from the rest of these cars, but he is also distinguished that these tires are fried. He had that little bit of smoke on the right rear coming out of 4. And ever since then, he has not been able to keep pace with the top 10.
No, definitely not. And he's going to he might even have to change strategy. He's so far off pace. He ran a 32.7 last time by. That's 0.6 of a second off leader Jeff Wright. So he's in a lot of trouble. Might even want to consider a 3-stop. That's a risk because you go laps down. And if you catch that yellow at a bad spot, you're in a bad spot. But this slow already, he might have to consider coming in the next 10 laps or so. As another battle I'm looking at is for 4th. Ortega has kind of held the middle line, and Ben Baffert, I think, started the hard save. He's trying to charge back up to the front, but he's been trying to make that pass on the bottom, and he just can't do it. You can see he's trying to get the outside of Ortega, but the two's shutting that down. So he's got to find some other way to make that pass.
After one of the cars on offense as we come out of turn 2, had a really good run. Where do you take it though, Connor? This kind of getting into that single line portion of the race. Atlanta can be multi-groove, but it seems to only be within the first 10 laps or so that you can run the bottom. Now everyone's migrating towards the top.
Yeah, even Adam Cabot's gone to the top. But you can see Baffert went a little bit higher than Ortega, got that big run off of turn number 4. And I think at this point he has enough room in front of the 2. He can drive this in deep, slide up in front of him, and then force Ortega to the bottom. But at that point, Baffert will have the line he wants, and Ortega will fight it. Big wiggle there, and he won't be able to block this run from the 2. If he didn't have that slide, I think he has that spot, but Ortega gets it back, and Baffert wanted it back. He did not want Ortega to clear him back, but could not fight it. He'll get another run off of turn 4, though. You can see he's definitely faster than the 2, just nowhere to go.
The 3 of Sturgill thought maybe he would come in and take advantage of that situation. He had to chase it all the way up to the exit wall out of 4, and he almost slapped the wall. 42 is trying everything he can. Whatever inch is out there to the right side of his car, he's trying it.
Dakota Floyd tapped the wall. He's in 7th, but all clear right there. A little side-by-side between Joseph McWhorter and J.R. Shepard. As you can see, the spoiler cam off of Ben Baffert. Now he's looking back to the inside, looking for clean air as Ortega takes it away from him. Just can't make this pass.
Watch how close he's running to this wall here. I don't know if we can get a great look at it or not. Oh, this time's a mistake. Ortega makes a little miscalculation.
I don't even know if it was a miscalculation. He really was pretty smooth out of turns 1 and 2. He just does not have the grip that Baffert does through the center of the corner. And now at this point, Baffert's just going to try to run him out of room, but he couldn't quite get up. They're both sideways off the corner. He just will not give this spot up, and you can see the ground they're losing to Ryan Carlisle right now. I think this is going to be a frustration slide job. He's like, dude, I'm faster. It's lap 30. Let me by. Too much.
He's faster, but
you gotta complete the pass, though.
Yeah.
And here comes Sturgill, but I still think he's got the better car. Even still, he's not hitting it hard enough to damage the car, at least at this point, as this battle gets tighter. They're 3 wide with McWhorter, Travato, and Shepard. That's for about the 13th position. Great battles, while Jeff Wright still has a pretty healthy lead himself.
Nick Hapiak loses a spot here. The 41 of Morgan Lilly got close to getting by out of 4. Thought he was going to clear, but Hapiak on the outside will have the preferred line. And meanwhile, Casey Lakatos in the 50. Also in this grouping, all the way to the outside, that's a wall brush.
Little scrape, no problem. Brian Henning sideways off the turn 2, even further behind. He's right behind Caleb Weekly. As there's battling all around this track. Still have 42 drivers on track, minus Mahalski. 42 drivers separated by 20 seconds on track, all the way back to Mark McFadden. As you can see, Henning's fishtailing it even through these little dog legs on the front part of the racetrack. They're almost 3 wide for 4th between Ortega, Baffert, and Sturgill. This battle will not go away because Reggie Ortega won't let it go away. And look how many other players are back in this field.
Look how much ground they've lost here, Connor. You mentioned that every time they get side by side, they're probably losing 3 to 4 tenths at minimum. Ortega 0.2 of a second slower that time by.
If Baffert could just complete the pass, it would open the door because Ortega would be in dirty air, and it would just pretty much help everyone else in making this pass. But he's able to hold this high side cleanly enough to where Baffert hasn't been able to cleanly make this
3 wide back here. That was Angelo Hironis, the 43 of Martinez. Joshua Banks also in this hunt. And then the 24 Bailey Turner was on the bottom.
They're almost looking 4 wide. Sturgill very tight off the corner. He started to fade back a little bit. Dakota Floyd's looking pretty strong. He got by all of that. He's up to 6th position. As man, if I'd be so, it would be so difficult for me not to hit the 2 at this point. As this is going to be tight. Banks up the track, really struggling with the right front tire there. As Dakota Floyd, he's going to be the next driver to try this pass on the inside, but Baffert's giving him enough of a push, giving the 2 enough of a push to do it. But look at this, really sent it into the corner. Oh, there's contact. They're all going to lose time. This is great stuff, but they are losing so much time to the top 3. Ryan Carlisle loves this because right now he's one of the faster drivers on the track.
It's so hard to think big picture, though, sometimes, especially if you're a driver that is behind the 2. And right now you're just trying to clear. I think the 57 does get clear on the inside.
But Baffert's going to be like, why couldn't I do that? But Ortega's not even going to give it up. He's going to bring it right back to him.
Yeah, that's a mistake, I think.
Because now what Baffert should do is try to get that run off the top side and get the Reggie Ortega's right rear before Dakota Floyd clears him. That's exactly what he's going to do. And Ortega's not even going to really fight it. So now this opens the door for everyone else to get by this 2-car who was just hanging on. Oh, Floyd in the wall. It's a little wall pop. That actually helped him off the corner. Oh, he's going to hit it again. Not quite. Thought he would, but this is great.
Contact?
After Ortega almost, they might have hit there.
I think they touched.
Still great racing. Even for the 18th position, Cost, Kibbe, and Clark and Ekin are all on top of each other. But yeah, you can see Floyd hit it there. But Ortega, just a little arrow tight. Slight contact. No harm, no foul.
Well, it settles down here, and you said back in the 18th position to Kenny Kibbe, Max Cost in this battle. Clark Ekin as well. The 84 machine up 6 spots from where he began the race here today from 25th. And it's always baffling to me how many guys that maybe if they would just qualify better could be up here in the top 10 all race long. We got quite a few of them back here that are definitely top 10 speed, like Joseph McWhorter, like J.R. Shepard. Some of these guys just not qualifying up in the top. Well, actually, J.R. Shepard had a great qualifying run, so I'll take that back. But there's some other guys like Reggie Ortega, Bailey Turner, that didn't get up here in the top 10 that will probably end up there.
Ortega is there, but he's actually fading. He might have drove his stuff a little too hard for the time being, as here goes Alec Martinez. We talked about that hard save he always does. Looks like he's finally starting to bring it to the front on lap number 40, as I think Baffert would have better tires if he got by Ortega a little bit quicker, but it took him too long. Now he's got to get by Dakota Floyd for the same position. Just look at the time off of turn number 2. There's the 71, that's third, and all the way back to 4th, he got maybe a quarter of the field behind Dakota Floyd right now. But Floyd is driving away from them just a little bit as those two teammates are side by side, as Floyd's one of the only drivers pushing that wall in turn number 3 and 4, as Baffert's almost going to bounce off it. Bailey Turner methodically has worked his way up to the front of the field, but we are almost in the window pretty much. The next 10 laps, you should see a lot of drivers come down.
Got the 03 and Noah Mahalski, who had that problem and snapped it into the outside wall out of turn 2. He is letting these cars by. He has much fresher tires than the rest of this field. Had to come in and get that damage repaired. So he is praying for a caution right now. 03, 11 laps down here. Nick Wood, 1 lap down. So you'd be the lucky pass position. You can see back here racing alongside Mark McFadden in the number 5, the last car in the lead lap, 41st position.
It looks like Wood was one of the first drivers to maybe commit to a 3-stop. He pit on lap number 35, so I can only imagine that was a scheduled stop for him, and maybe he might be the only one on this strategy, so we'll see how it works out. Like I said, we're pretty close to the window, if not in it, and that battle for the lead has gotten much closer in the last few laps. Adam Cabot, he's still been running that bottom in turns 1 and 2. He has hunted down Adam Cabot just a little bit. They've both driven away from Reggie Ortega. You can see he's pretty content with running the high line in 1 and 2. Does not want to mess with the bottom. Just a little bit. There's just not much there on the bottom 1 and 2. 3 and 4, it's still a pretty good line. See if he does it here. Once again, he's just going to avoid Jeff Wright's air. And Wright's not going to cover it. Just give the 17 all of that. And you can see he gains a pretty decent bit doing so.
Ryan Carwile slowly catching up here.
Had another driver pit there. That was Rob Denton from the rear of the field. He's going to come off pit lane. I think Chad Klinger just pit as well. So that's another driver who is... Oh, caution! We got a crash somewhere on the track. Do not know where it happened, but the first caution of the day is out. Was it Rob Denton? Did he stop on the track?
I'm not entirely sure here. Let's go back on the VSPEED instant replay, try to figure out where this was.
No one spun. Denton did. I did see Denton. He had reset through his box. 93. See, he gets the end of pit road. Oh, he stopped at the end of pit road. And I think that had to be the yellow. There was nothing else that happened. Try to get a read on the pace car myself, just see when the lights came on. And yeah, that had to be for the 93 stopping at the end of pit lane, which is going to be probably a big shame and very upsetting for a lot of drivers. But some drivers, they didn't want to enter pit road under green, so they'll get the opportunity to do it under yellow. But I don't think Denton's going to be maybe a little embarrassed about that. Probably didn't think that would trigger the yellow, but it has. And we got our first round of pit stops under caution.
Jeff Wright leads him down in. He's led every single lap thus far.
Ooh, missed his box a little.
It's going to maybe end up losing a spot here to Adam Cabot, possibly with missing that box ever so slightly. We'll have to wait and see how he shoots out of his stall here. Couple two-tire stop there in the back. Yeah, he lost quite a few positions.
Oh, he
lost 6
lost.
spots.
He lost about 4 there. Eddie Trejo came off a pit lane. I think he missed his box, but Cabot off first, Carwell second, then Martinez, Baffert, Floyd. Jeff Wright came out all the way back in 6th, and I believe we got a penalty for the 73 of Joseph McWhorter. Looks to be speeding for the 73.
Black flag here for Joseph McWhorter. He'll drop all the way to the tail end. He was up about 10 spots from where he began, now all the way to the back of the field, as we'll get set to go back green flag racing in just a moment. Don't go anywhere, though. Plenty of racing left to be done. You are watching the Saturday Night Racing League presented by M&J Distributors live on VSPEED. More coverage continues right after this.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs.
We are green.
Back here, green flag at Atlanta. Adam Cabot will be the command car as Jeff Wright lost some spots. He's already diving to the inside, but we're back. Green flag racing for the second time today. Caution comes out there on lap 46. Rob Denton down on the bottom of the track and still triggered an iRacing caution.
Yeah, unfortunate that happened. That really hurt the drivers that pit a little earlier, like Chad Klinger. He just brought it to pit lane, but Denton becomes one of the 2 drivers out of this race. Excuse me, one of the 3 drivers out of this race, including Brian Hennings. We're back green. Adam Cabot has the clean air, which he was seeking for that entire green flag run. He's finally got it.
Jeff Wright, for the first time today, back in traffic, a little bit loose here off the corner.
Ooh, stack it up behind Baffert there. Ortega and Turner almost got into it there.
It's really tight there off of turn 4, but they settle it out. Some of these cars that maybe saved their stuff early in the run, doesn't look like that's the case this time around. Some of these guys are going for it right out of the gate, and we're 3 wide off of turn 2.
Whoa, and Carwell and Baffert almost hit each other. We'll see what Baffert can do. If he could just stay ahead of both of these drivers instead of getting caught behind him, he could really be a threat. Same thing for Alec Martinez. We didn't really get to see how far he could get up through the field. They're now 2nd and 3rd behind the 17 at Cabot.
There's Ryan Carwile, who was consistently up in the top 3. He loses the position to Ben Baffert. Jeff Wright, who led every single lap, little mistake on the pit box. We talked about that a little bit, but when you're talking about in the box, Jeff Wright technically
big move.
seven extra tenths back here with Sturgill now. He's going to look to the inside, 3 wide through 3 and 4.
He got a big run on Ortega and Bailey Turner. He sent it 3 wide to the inside, but just not quite going to have the run off the corner to make it work.
And an early exit here for Rob Denton. He has left the session after the problems there. Not sure entirely if it was a equipment malfunction or what exactly went wrong.
Martinez hit the wall behind Adam Cabot. I think Cabot wants to try to save these tires and go a little light, but I think Alec Martinez wants to clean air, and he's pushing him a little harder than he wants to go here. As here comes Travato fight for a top 10 position with Bailey Turner, who's yet to really fight his way back into the top 5 after starting further back. He's fighting with Sturgill, Ortega. Joshua Banks got fresh tires. He's going to try to fight back to the front. Even further back, you're going to have McWhorter trying to come from the back of the field after the speeding penalty. As I just saw Jordan Trask slap the wall, but he kept it straight. Back for the lead.
17 of Adam Cabot, the 43 of Alec Martinez. Looks to the inside.
Here comes the teammate bump draft. You always love to have a teammate for this reason alone. Martinez going to try to send it, maybe slide up in front of Cabot. Cabot tried to pinch the right rear quarter panel. He's going to really tight off of 2, and Cabot's going to give Martinez the bumper off the corner. Baffert really had a big moment. They're 3 wide for 3rd behind them.
And here comes the 57 of Dakota Floyd to benefit the most from this. He gave...
Whoa! Martinez sliding. Oh, man. Is it 100 to go? Or is it 90 to go or 9 to go? These guys are all over the place. Look at this.
Well, I think right now what you're seeing, Connor, is drivers that got a little bit of confidence after that green flag run. Maybe they know that they saved too much or didn't save enough, but he got 2 cars in the wall, and here comes Ryan Carlisle to take 3rd.
He back to 3rd. Banks trying to get this track position back all the way on the bottom. Dakota Floyd got to where he wanted to be on the top side, though. Well, Banks gets by Jeff Wright. Losing that clean air has really hurt the driver of the 48 as his top 2 are the ones getting away now. Martinez wants the inside. Cabot tried to block it, couldn't quite do it.
This is for the 22nd position. They're looking 3 wide again here. Miller Genuine Draft, number 60 of Stephon Davis, the 54 of Bryce Shoemaker in the middle there briefly. It's Kenny Kibbe in that orange number 14. Back up front though. Hasn't settled down just yet.
But Floyd really pushed the issue to get to the outside of Baffert there. Barely got room from the 42, who probably didn't even know he was going to try that. Martinez has backed off of the 17 for the time being. Carwell's clear to 3rd. Look at the run Dakota Floyd has for that 4th position. He'll try to re-slide in front of Baffert. And he is going to force it, and he's got it. Crossover incoming.
Oh, and Jeff Wright just clipped the wall there. That'll allow Joshua Banks to the inside.
These things didn't have composite bodies. There'd be a lot of sheet metal lying around as here goes Baffert. He's going to slide the 57 right back as he's going to try to get that run off the corner. Floyd's going to give it right back to him. Whoa. I don't think Baffert likes the battling going on here. He just wants Floyd to give the spot up, but it won't happen as Floyd sent it. There's going to be contact a little bit there, but they keep it straight. Now Floyd's in a bad spot because Jeff Wright's going to take his right rear and get that spot. And look at all the cars that Dakota Floyd has lined up behind him to pin into the inside.
Get to the outside now. Get to the outside now. He doesn't do it.
Couldn't do it. No enough room there.
Well, he's
maybe 3 wide.
Yep.
Ooh, Ortega.
Oh, there it is.
Car wide. Banks wants the spot. He'll go 3 wide. Had some sliding in the background. I think it might have been Logan Threlkel, but they all kept it straight.
Currently in 29th position. Max Kos going by on the outside here. And who would have thought? Next gen going, what in my opinion should be caution free. I know that little mistake there, Benton, maybe an equipment malfunction. In my heart, it's still caution free here today.
Mostly incident free, even with the 0-3 Mahalski. That was our biggest incident of him hitting the wall. No one else got collected at that point, as this is as calm as you'll see it. This is as single file as you'll see it the rest of the race, I think, at this point, as these drivers are all over the racetrack trying to one-up one another. Carwile and Baffert are going to go to battle for third position. Banks could not quite get fifth from Jeff Wright. You start to see more and more drivers just protecting by running that middle to outside lane. They know that passing on the bottom is darn near impossible without the driver on the outside making a mistake. That's why you're seeing a lot more drivers just protecting that right rear, running higher and higher on the racetrack.
For the 24 car, Bailey Turner, it looks like a top 10 day. He hasn't really shown anything to me that proves he can be up here in the top 3. But even with that, we talked about the points, the record for 4 wins in a row. Bailey Turner has probably the best points lead of anyone in this series right now, because we've usually at this point had 4 separate winners.
They are 3 wide further back, but yeah, I think Bailey's fine. If he were at top 15 the rest of the regular season, he'd be okay with that. As the real 42, Jordan Trask, hits the whoa, really slid it off of turn number 2. But yeah, I mean, we saw what happened last week. Anything can happen. He's not out of it, but definitely not able to get to the front like he has in pretty much every other race. Furthest he's been up really is to about 7th or 8th position.
Trask loses about 4 spots right there. He's been having some handling issues. He might be on a little bit older tire set as well. I know some of these guys like to back pocket these tires, but the way this race is green flag all the way through, I don't think that it's going to be an advantage tonight.
I think he might just be a little off the pace. I don't know if anyone's really saving a set after a 40-plus lap run. Seems unlikely, just maybe struggling a little bit for that driver, as the drivers are still kind of all over each other. The track temp has gone up a little bit, even though it's gotten later, but you got 40-plus cars running this track, that it's still going to be a pretty high track temp just because of all the drivers putting the heat into this track. So we're at 101 right now, which is maybe only a little lower actually than what it was earlier.
On board here with AJ Stravato, trying to get by Reggie Ortega in the number 2. You can see him to the outside, and then the battle there between the 24 of Bailey Turner, the 57 of Dakota Floyd. Back and forth all race long for this top 10. It's been hard to look away from. It's starting to migrate its way back here a little further, though, from 11th on back.
We saw Michael Sturgill battling for a top 5 spot. He got stuck on the bottom, fell back just a little bit, so now he's in a fight for what is actually 11th with Angel Horonis, who just got by Case Lakatos for that 12th position. Lakatos side by side with Josh Adams. Whoa, Joshua Banks really cut it close getting behind Jeff Wright, but Horonis and Sturgill, they swap positions right there.
Is on board with the 3 of Michael Sturgill. We saw Sturgill chasing it up out of turn 4 a little bit there as well.
He's been chasing it. Meanwhile, battle for second. Looks like Ryan Carwile is looking to be inside of Alec Martinez. As we look at one of the driver cams we have from Michael Sturgill, we've had him pretty much all season long at that. Fending off Case Lakatos right on his rear bumper. You can see it in the rear view mirror. Josh Adams to be inside in that Mustang. There's not too many of them out here on Saturday Night Racing League. Looks like Martinez kept the 2nd spot. Looks like the 3 is going to be able to keep the 12th spot for the time being, but really struggling in the center of the corner. You kind of tell how hard he's trying to rip that wheel just to get at the turn in the center of the corner. As Bailey Turner is going to look to be inside of Dakota Floyd. Really, he's looking to be inside of Joshua Banks for 6th, while Floyd tries to poke his nose to be outside of both these guys.
They're going to look 3 wide, and Banks closes the door, trying to defend here against the 24. He will have that defense going into turn 1. So tough to pass, even if you're running the middle. That car's in a wall, Banks. Oh boy, 4 wide.
3 wide only, but he's going to lose a lot of track position that he fought hard to gain on the short term, and that's going to really hurt him even more in the long term of this run if we get there, falling those positions back. But as we were talking about him, as he hadn't gotten through the field quite yet, this is the highest he's been in the 6th position.
So it's a little bit of a flip-flop. It looks like clean air is where you want to be. Doesn't surprise me here with the next generation car. even at road courses, we've had dirty air become an issue with this next generation stock car on VSPEED. Single file all the way back to Reggie Ortega in the 11th spot.
Yeah, but you still get to see so many people just trying different lines at the front and even at the back. Floyd's still kind of further up the track than most, while other drivers haven't quite committed to the higher line. Maybe not, maybe they don't think the tires are as worn as they need to be quite yet, but you still see some drivers kind of babying that middle to bottom line for the time being.
On board with Brian Chambliss, now 4 spots. Looks like he's starting to come into his own now as we progress through this run. He just fended off Joshua Banks.
Ooh. Someone hit the wall out of 2 pretty hard. I think it was Joseph McWhorter. He's slow against the outside wall at 3 and 4. Yeah, there's some right front damage.
Yep.
Oh yeah, same thing as Mahalski.
Yep.
Oh, they're 3 wide. They're wrecking almost off of turn number 2. They're 4 wide. Dakota Floyd, Horonis, Josh Adams, and AJ Stravado. I don't know how that wasn't a crash, but they're not done yet. How did they get out of that? It's not done. Horonis is sideways.
Do we hit the replay button or do we let this continue? I mean, we got to go back and look at that. They were 3 wide. Who made the mistake there to create that situation?
Someone was in the wall. It might have been Stravado. I couldn't quite tell, but someone hit the wall and checked all of that up and made it 4 wide. Pretty tight racing throughout this entire field. I've said that a lot, but it's true. There's a lot of action right now. We haven't even got loud.
No, we have not. We're just past that halfway mark. When I go back on this replay, I'm going to see what exactly happened to Stravado. This is coming out of turn 2 where it happens, and then we end up 3 wide down the backstretch. Just some chaotic moments there, right here.
Goes for a slide job, kind of runs out of room. Floyd gets into him. They get glued together. I don't know how they kept it straight. Stravado kind of the bigger loser in that, actually, but they all saved their race cars, at least for the time being.
Well, with that, it's a perfect opportunity here on VSPEED to find that volume knob, the remote control, whatever you're watching on right now. And thank you for joining us here on VSPEED. But let us get loud. Presented by FireStorm Racing. Get Loud presented by FireStorm Racing. A little problem here for AJ Stravado as we come back to our broadcast live coverage of Saturday Night Racing League in the Cup Series presented by M&J Distributors. I don't know what happened there to Stravado. I think we need to back it up, try to figure it out.
Looked like the side-by-side battle with Dakota Floyd gone wrong. I heard Stravado on the radio. He said something like, if you're going to be on the high line, make sure you're fast while doing it and you're clogging up the lane. I believe he was talking to a driver of the 57, who is still running in the 8th position. As Stravado slipped back to 13th with that big of a slide, and he's going to have no tire left after a slide this big. You see Floyd a little slower, Stravado trying to make the pass. Floyd came down the track a little bit. Stravado wasn't ready for it, and that is as sideways as you can get. That's the second time he's done that this race and saved it.
I think we need to back it up here a little bit, though. In Dakota Floyd's defense, 33 came up the track quite a ways.
Definitely came down the track a little bit, and Travato definitely came up. It happens. I mean, you gotta use so much room at this track to get out of a corner, but I can't knock Travato for being upset. He feels he's the faster car, and the 57 just a little slow, but at a track like this, it's hard to pass when someone's clogging up the main passing lane. It's tough, and there is a mess for 20th by Ray Massey. I'm sorry to cut away from that, but this is a little more crazy.
Elliot Butler, a name that we haven't said yet tonight. He's in the middle. A little contact there with Bryce Shoemaker for that 19th position. And the 3 of Michael Sturgill stuck on the outside, out of 4. Still 3 wide. Ray Massey on the bottom. Contact. There's the caution.
Michael Sturgill got the worst of that one. They're not done. Bryce Shoemaker in the wall. Banks is in that one. Jordan Trask is in it. Oh, and Stephen Davis piled in late. And Massey got a piece of that as well. You could tell that was going to go bad.
And it was the 16 in the middle there. Back this up on the instant replay. We saw it in real time. There it is. The 3 got loose. I think came across the nose of the 16. And the aftermath there with the 35.
Oh, and the 60 piled in really late. But yeah, I mean, they were battling in a mid-pack. They don't really have a lot of room to work with how sideways their cars are. I mean, you could tell there was going to be a problem here. Yeah, Sturgill just kind of got loose, not intentional, just lost the car and into the 16. Wow, Donald Kite did a great job getting his way through that. Banks gets a pretty big piece, and Jordan Trask really piled into it.
One more time on board with Ray Massey.
Trask didn't pile into it, he just got a big piece of it. That's what I meant to say. Good save for Massey. It's still a lot of damage. Once again, we'll avoid green flag pit stops. Everyone will bring it down under the caution flag. We're going to be restarting probably with about 55 to go. This will put us really close on the mark for fuel.
Adam Cabot leads him in. Jeff Wright, no mistakes here this time into the stall, but he will be just behind Adam Cabot. I think he's going to come out right around the 3rd spot. This is on the recovery here. Nope, not down and away in time. He's going to lose. I think he's about where he was. He beats the 24 Bailey Turnaround.
Cabot still gets out in front of Alec Martinez. Ben Baffert 3rd. We saw how hard the 17 and the 43 battled hard to get clean air. It's going to be another really big battle in this restart, as I believe Austin Belkey just drove through his pit stalls. Yeah, I think he missed his stall, actually, looking back at us. He'll have to come back down.
Well, we're going to take another brief break here on VSPEED, the Saturday Night Racing League presented by M&J Distributors. We'll be back here from Atlanta right after this.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Back here live here with Saturday Night Racing League from Legacy Atlanta. About 54 laps to go. Adam Cabot's led them all since the first set of pit stops under the caution flag. He's led 41 laps to this point. Ben Bafford's gotten his way around Alec Martinez on the restart for second as he tries to block both lanes. Jeff Wright the fourth, Carwile fifth. Bailey Turner with a big send for that fifth position to the inside of Carwile, who's ran very well tonight. They're going to stay side by side, but he won't be able to quite get that spot. If you're going to make up ground on the bottom line, you're going to have to do it on fresh tires.
Dive there to the inside of Brian Chambliss for the 16th position, but I think he got a little loose there coming out of 4. I don't think it was an intentional move to try to pass. I think he just lost a little bit of the back end. You see there in the outside, that's the 16 machine. Elliott Butler. Remember, he was involved with that 3 wide that brought our yellow flag out, but he got away unscathed. It was the 35 of Joshua Banks, the 3 of Sturgill, the 54 of Shoemaker that paid the price for him.
Yeah, and it took Bryce Shoemaker, Stephen Davis, Jordan Trask all out of the race, while others who were involved, like Banks, are just going to have to kind of salvage whatever they can, as there's a log jam off of turn 2 with Keith Shoemaker in the 88 in the middle. Donnie Kite back there. Nick Wood just got around him. 3 with all the damage, not running as horribly as I thought he would. It's a big chunk of damage. Him and Ray Massey. It looks like Massey got his repaired. 3 not so much, but still a top 25 run for the time being, as the battle for the lead was pretty darn close that time by. Bafford is on the bumper of Adam Cabot, but just can't quite make that pass.
Off the back of the 17, down the back straightaway, lap 90 about to be completed. We saw the first 35-40 laps led by Jeff Wright. Now we're seeing Adam Cabot take over, and really what this race has boiled down to for this lead change is we've only had one of them today, was a slight mistake entering the box on pit road. That's really how close it is here at Saturday Night Racing in the Cup Series.
Who knows, if he didn't make that mistake, he could still be leading, but you could tell he just has not had the car to fight through that dirty air to get that position back. He still hasn't gotten by the duo Martinez and Bafford. He drove in hard trying to clear Martinez there, but he won't quite do it as Bafford is hunting that 17, just can't quite make anything happen quite yet. Further back than that, Carwell still holding off Bailey Turner. Adams 7th, the 98 of J.R. Shepard up to the 8th position, while Ortega and Travado battle for the 9th position.
Down the backstretch again, Ben Bafford has the advantage on the exits, but this is what we saw earlier when he was trying to clear some other drivers. He can run a higher line and get a good run, but you can't take it anywhere. It's the exit of these corners. Where do you go? You go to the inside? Well, you're going to lose that ground, and he doesn't want to lose any spots. He has Alec Martinez, Jeff Wright right behind him here. If they get racing side by side, very easily could lose more than just one position.
The problem is when he tries to go for the slide job, we saw on Ortega earlier, he's just not able to complete that without hitting the wall. Oh, right, big loose wiggle. But 42 has not been able to do that quite without having too big of a wiggle and just not having the momentum down the straightaways to stay in front of that driver he's battling. So he's either got to perfect that or try something different. Right here, he enters high, exits low, gets a better run off the corner than Cabot and gets to his inside. Now, does he want to just run the bottom normally, or is he going to go for this slide job? I think he's going to go for it, but you can see Cabot, how hard he drove it into the corner to defend that move. And what this is going to do is slow them down a lot to let Martinez get a little bit closer, but he's not quite there yet. But every time Baffert gets that run, Cabot's going to try to shut it down.
Connor, while that was happening, the 48 of Jeff Wright made a mistake out of turn 2. He got really tight, had to lift out of the throttle, and that allowed the 71 of Ryan Carlisle to the inside for the 4th spot. Jeff Wright able to defend it. What's going on in the back here?
They blocked him to the wall. That right rear quarter panel, so much side draft when you get to the right rear. Baffert wanted it. Bailey Turner's all the way up the track. Oh, he's wiggling. He gets hit. How did he save it? I don't know, but it hurt J.R. Shepard's front end more than it did the 24. That was a wild moment. Turner went for the huge send and did not make it work whatsoever. But I was more looking at the block that Cabot put on Ben Baffert at the start-finish line. There was even blocking here. Carlisle, maybe Turner felt he got put in the wall there, but there was a gap. I think Bailey Turner just goes for, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm going to the bottom, and it is way too much. And you know what? I think the 43 cutting across his nose really upset the arrow on that 24 as well. But J.R. Shepard's unfortunately the big loser in that. He poked a big hole in the nose.
And we'll come on board one more time here with Shepard.
Oh, Baffert's almost got the right rear Cabot live. Nope, he blocked it off. But yeah, look at this. They did a good job keeping it straight. Tell you what, if Adam Cabot does what he did at turn number 4 one more time, Baffert won't be so nice. He cut him a break. I think Baffert's faster short run. Someone hit the wall back there. I think it was Ortega. He kept it straight, but Adam Cabot just cannot give up the outside. He needs to just force Ben Baffert to use that lower line. You cannot let him get to your outside.
Gains 4th position back here. Joshua Banks in the 35 has fallen all the way back to 27th after that damage. You got Matt Shinoski in the 31 going by on the outside. And then Joseph McWhorter. We're talking about these drivers that need to have a good day. McWhorter with the speeding penalty, even if he was having a good day, he undid it with exiting pit road.
And he got into a wall the previous run as well. As now is only running 25th place. If he finishes, great, but he just... At some point, it becomes, you don't need to just finish races. You need to get better runs as the race leaders. They're hitting the wall. They're exiting in the dog legs so high up the racetrack. I mean, I've seen this so many times in any league. They both hit the wall.
Sometimes you follow that guy. You get that tunnel vision.
Yeah. Happens more times than anyone wants to admit. As you can see, Cabot just desperately defending that high line. He will not let Ben Baffert beat him, getting to his right rear quarter panel. But you can tell Baffert just a little bit better on center off, really, is where he beats the 17 off the corner. And now he's in another situation where he can try to slide up in front of the 17. But you can see Cabot really ran him low. They're contacted to turn number 1. Baffert didn't quite go for the slider, but I don't think Cabot really gave him a lot of room, or at least he thought he'd go lower.
He definitely pinched him. Definitely took away that slide as an opportunity, and that's what he did earlier. We saw that about 10 laps ago when the 40 had the momentum. I think if you're Ben Baffert, you're kind of keeping tally marks on the dashboard right now. How many times is this 17 going to do this to me before I move him out of the way?
There's a few ways this could end, and there's not many that are clean.
Yeah.
These are two kind of heavyweights when it comes to racing. Cabot very aggressive, Ben Baffert very aggressive. Always go 110% going for the win. Even throw Alec Martinez in the mix, who they've kind of caught up to those top two once again. It could end up being very ugly, especially if it happens at the very front of the field. But you're starting to see Baffert, not really Baffert change his line. Cabot started kind of running the bottom in turns 3 and 4 again, but that time Baffert couldn't quite get the run he needed to get to the inside of Cabot. But you could tell Cabot's defensive driving, just trying to put his dirty air on the nose of Ben Baffert by any means necessary in 1 and 2. 3 and 4, this time he does the same thing. He kind of blocks that higher line as Baffert's going to have to cut it down low, but we'll see how long this run goes. This could be very treacherous and very costly on the front tires of the 42.
Trying to find clean air any way you can. 17 playing defense right now. Meanwhile, Alec Martinez, Jeff Wright, Ryan Carlisle, and here comes Bailey Turner to the inside of the 48 car. He might lose a position to Ryan Carlisle here.
He's actually trying to get by Carlisle. He just happened to get to the inside of the 48, but just once again.
3 wide, why not?
Carwile trying to get by Jeff Wright at the same time. He almost got it, but he won't have the push, while Baffert trying to get the left rear cap. It's going to shut him down once again as the side-by-side battle is for that 4th position.
This might help Bailey Turner here now that Ryan Carwile's stuck to the bottom. You see the 43 Martinez. Jeff Wright really loose out of turn 2.
I don't know how he kept that straight.
There wasn't much room for it. He kept it in his lane, too.
Well, watch Turner really trying to force the issue, slide up in front of Jeff Wright. He did not quite clear him, but he forced him out of room. He sideways, right into the wall. He got bumped from Ortega. He hits the wall again. And that was a tough one. Turner was not quite clear, but he kind of forced Jeff Wright into a lift or crash scenario, and it ends up in a crash. There was no contact. He just kind of ran him into the gray stuff up there. Get a good view of it. I think you know what happens here. Turner sees the opportunity to clear the 48. He goes for it. It's just not quite there, and Jeff Wright gets kind of ran up. No contact, but Jeff Wright has to give Bailey Turner that room, or else they're going to hit. He gets ran up out of the groove and has 2 pretty hard hits to the wall. Reggie Ortega.
This wasn't. I don't think Ortega really got into Jeff Wright. I think Jeff Wright was already kind of snapping free right here.
See, he ran out of room. There's slight contact, but obviously nothing he could do there. It's going to be hard to swallow for the 48. He ran top 5. He's brought it to pit lane now. We thought they might be close on fuel, so maybe he's taking an opportunity. Hey, if they can't make it, I can. So we'll see what happens here. He'll get his, maybe his second to last set of the race, actually. Everyone should have 2 tire sets left for the most part.
To look at our race analysis, they had 4 tire sets available. I think this will be the 3rd one.
It would be for the 48, yeah. After all that, finally ended up unfolding. Our top 5 is now Cabot, Baffert, Martinez, Carwile, and Bailey Turner. And then Stravato, Ortega, Josh Adams, Kenny Kibbe's found his way to 9th, and Ronis is 10th. So, doesn't seem like anyone's saving fuel. So that leads me to believe either they can't make it really, or they can easily.
This will tell you.
Yeah,
if there's anyone, this guy.
if there's anyone that's going to save, it would be him. No, it doesn't sound like there's any fuel saving.
They either can make it absolutely, or it's not going to happen at all. Yeah, it's one or the other. If you don't hear the clutch pedal, you're probably going to see pit stops.
And we'll see when pit stops happen, if they do at all. They'd probably be in the next 10 laps or so. And with such short runs to the end of the race, there's so much tire wear. I would never consider 2 tires here. But you might see some desperate drivers maybe try something like that. As I saw the 27 of Nick Wood. He ended up coming to pit lane that time by. He might have been the lead. I couldn't quite tell. That battle of the lead's not quite done yet. Baffert, Adam Cabot just cannot get away from Ben Baffert. As Dakota Floyd's going to battle Kenny Kibbe as Floyd started to kind of slip back at the end of this race. As they're side-by-side for the lead. Oh, Cabot got hit by the 42 just a little bit there. That got really tight.
I think he's running out of tally marks. I think he's running out of room on the dash. For how many times do I want to let him play defense?
That time, not much defense was done there. Baffert just kind of went a little bit too deep and a little bit too close of a 17's door here. As we do have pit stops, AJ Stravato came down to pit. Josh Adams and Kenny Kibbe. You can see right here, Baffert gets to be inside, but there's no room between those cars. You're going to get really tight side by side like that. Baffert just didn't have the downforce to do it, but this leads me to believe you can't really make it easily. Josh Adams and Kenny Kibbe were running top 10 and came down the pit. So this is going to be really interesting because there's going to be a lot of strategy trying to get clean air by short pitting drivers here. I think a short pit wins the race. I just don't know who's going to be able to do it. Here come a lot more drivers. Here comes Ortega. Oh, Reggie Ortega's going to spin on pit entry into the inside pit wall hard. Another one slid through pit road. It was J.R. Shepard. Another driver's going to miss pit lane. That's Matt Shanosky. A lot of drivers struggling on pit entry.
This all happens within 30 seconds.
Ortega has the penalty for sure. That's going to ruin his race. None of the other leaders came down that time. 29 will, but Ortega just way too fast. Not even close. The 98 missed pit lane. There you see him sliding. And then 31 Shinosky, he just misses it completely. I think I saw the 29 get on cleanly. Eddie Trejo missed his stall. This is the one thing we didn't mention because we haven't gotten to that point yet. Pit entry here is treacherous to say the least. You do not have a lot of time to brake. Very harsh transition onto the apron as well. It causes trouble.
Yeah, it's a very difficult track. And with this car, kind of multiplying that factor of trying to get it to turn down towards the apron where it doesn't want to be. Obviously, the outside is where this car wants to ride, and you really have to slow it down to get it down to the bottom of the racetrack. You see a little scrape of the wall. It's trying to drive off of this track right now. It cannot go any higher.
I tell you what, I like short pitting here. With how hard these guys at the front are battling, I want to be out of this battle, have fresh tires, and maybe some clean track to work with. As here comes Bailey Turner. I like when Josh Adams pit though. I really like that. Dakota Floyd's in. Here comes Clark Enekin. Really good pit entry there. At least it looked good, I believe. Elliott Butler got a speeding penalty, so he will have to serve that. Trejo's down to serve a penalty of his own. You think someone's got to pull the trigger in this top 5 sooner or later?
I think Bailey Turner just signed that warrant. I think he's going to summons them down the pit road.
Oh, yeah, here comes everyone in the top 5, minus Carlisle.
Oh!
Hit him! Oh, were there any speeding penalties in that? I don't see any, but you know who won big there? AJ Stravato. Oh, wait.
I seem to recall a race.
Goodness.
I seem to recall a race where Adam Cabot and Ben Baffert came off of pit road next to each other. Do you remember that?
Seems like Ben Baffert might have gotten an unsafe pit entrance. And he's going to have a penalty to serve. And that's going to take Baffert out of it. What a huge mistake. Just tried to get a little more out of it than the 17 did.
The 17 locked it up, too.
There's not much Baffert could really do there. Oh, the marbles on pit road. I don't know what else Baffert could have done, but that's going to take him out of contention completely. Meanwhile, Ryan Carlisle is going to run this a little longer. Didn't hear him clutching or anything like that, but he's going to run this long.
Well, tire fall off here based off of their best lap to where they are 35 laps into this stint. They are almost 2 seconds slower. Look at the weather, 96 degrees. It's come down about 8 degrees.
Josh Adams and Bailey Turner had some contact or something because I saw them jawing at each other. I think it's too late to go back, but I think when Turner pulled up off a pit lane, they might have had bumper to bumper contact. Turner's gone out in front of Josh Adams with fresher tires. Jeff Wright has come out in front of Bailey Turner, so maybe this won't hurt him too much, considering they couldn't make it.
Trying to find exactly what you're
talking about. I think it was before that. I think it was when Turner was pulling off the apron. Still waiting on Ryan Carlisle. How long can these guys stretch it? Can anyone make it?
I don't think anyone can make it. It's 20 laps to go here at the stripe. That's going to put us at 58 laps to finish this thing out. I don't think anyone can make it to the end. I think right now for Ryan Carlisle, he is praying that a yellow comes out.
And I will say I don't like that strategy. He was a top 5 driver this entire race. I don't like potentially throwing that result away, trying to stretch the fuel or trying to catch a yellow. I would have rather just kind of held on to what I had, but who knows, maybe it works out. I personally don't like it though. As Morgan Lilly, Ray Massey, Chambliss, Belkey, Kite, Banks, Shoemaker, McWhorter, Hapiak, all drivers stretching this, trying to maybe catch a yellow. Then you got Sturgill, Brandon Wallace, Mike Sturgill as well. You got the top 13 all there. Then Jeff Wright, who got into the wall after a dust-up with the 24 Bailey Turner. Remember, we saw him come down to pit for 4 tires after that. So technically, he would cycle out to be the leader right now. And who is coming up to catch him? None other than Bailey Turner. What track was it where they battled and got together and lost the victory? It was sometime last season. Clearly not that well.
Texas?
I think it might have been Kansas. It was one of those tracks.
We're going to see Bailey Turner catch up to the 48 of Jeff Wright. Goes by on the inside. We're talking about almost 3 seconds back here.
You know what?
Adam Cabot.
You know where I think it was? I think it was right here, actually. Chad Klinger went on the victory lane. And Turner's gotten by without issue, though. So, no one's tallying
markers.
markers.
Cup Series last season, I think Chad Klinger's win came at Phoenix Raceway.
Yeah, season 3, he got the win at Atlanta. I think that Phoenix win was the end of season 2.
You might be right. Yeah. I don't know. They've 4 seasons here. You want me to go back? I tell you, I don't have a great memory.
I'll tell you what, he did win that season finale at Phoenix, but he was the beneficiary of the 48 and 24 coming together last season, but not the case this season. Right now, the driver to cycle out to the lead would be Bailey Turner. He's pulling away from the 48 and the 6 and the 14 of Kenny Kibbe.
Can we appreciate the 88 car for a second, though? That is a sharp-looking scheme.
Does look nice.
Trying to
look back. And by the way, I looked back at Bailey Turner's pit stop. Guess how many tires he took?
2.
2. Didn't think it was going to be in the cards with how much tire wear there is, but he went for it, and he's got a pretty good gap to the drivers he's running. He ran a 31.1 last time by. I'd say the next closest driver that he will compare to is Adam Cabot. Cabot's not running that much faster.
What did I tell you pre-race, Connor? Before we got in here, if he goes 5 in a row.
Are you going to eat a shoe?
I'm not eating a shoe, but I might eat a paycheck. I might come out on the racetrack to make sure that it doesn't happen for 6 in a row.
Not a Bailey Turner fan. Hate to see it.
No, I absolutely respect everything that Bailey Turner has done. But I think for the league integrity, if we see the 24 car win all the races, you know, we gotta have some kind of story here. So a lap car that it was in the broadcast booth the week prior, you know, that'll make headlines. You know, taking out the leader.
Man, I will tell you, most of the drivers still on track are not saving, but I did hear Brian Chambliss clutching a little bit as Mike Sturgill's slow on the track, maybe just letting drivers by. The only one of the drivers I've heard clutching who has not pit yet is Brian Chambliss, and I have seen him win a fuel race here at this track before.
There's a lot of clutching, though, and you won't hear him shift down either.
He's got a gap to work with. He's got at least a little bit of time to work with. 12 seconds isn't a lot, but with Bailey taking 2 tires, that fall-off will be a little accelerated. That could play in his favor.
Brian Chambliss also getting some experience watching the B-class cars. He was up in the tower. Track steward for the Challenger Series. Did a fantastic job. Ray Massey, I don't know if he's in save mode or not.
No, he was involved in the last yellow. Good chance he at least topped off for fuel. So maybe he had a little extra in the tank, but if it was like 2 laps, if it was 2 laps of fuel he had to save, I would have assumed everyone would save it. Battle right around 10th is pretty tight. There's a lot of drivers around there, including Cabot, who just got by all of them.
Well, Massey's on the same stint. Based off numbers, 46 laps here. And he came down and got that damage repaired. I don't think that Ray Massey, if Ryan Carlisle can't make it, Ray Massey can't make it, based off the numbers I'm seeing. I could be wrong about that, but I think right now Brian Chambliss would have the best chance because he's clutching.
Carl must think he can make it. I just don't understand throwing away a top 5 to maybe make it on fuel. He has to see something different. I don't. Everyone else, Lilly, Massey, Chambliss, Kite, Belkey, even Joshua Banks, they've been kind of struggling the second half of this race, and they're just maybe trying to catch a yellow. Carlisle has to think he can make it off fuel to go this long. At this point, you got no finish if it goes green, and he can't make it off fuel.
I mean, Connor, we've seen some of these guys, you know, save right at the green flag where we're not really paying attention to their onboard. We tend to start paying attention when they stay out. We don't think it's a possibility. he might have been on the clutch pedal for the first 10 or 15 laps of this run, and now is in a situation where he doesn't need to save anymore. So, I mean, factor in how many times have we seen surprising runs. First number that comes to mind is the 24. The next one is the 8. Seth Hatchell has done it as well. They have a surprising fuel strategy that they're committed to right out of the green flag.
I will say, if he wants to save more fuel to get to the end, he has a lot of time to make it work. He has like a second and a half back to Morgan Lilly, and he's got still 13 seconds in the tank, 13 seconds at his disposal to go lay back to Bailey Turner as well. He has a lot of time to try to save a lot of extra fuel, but he at least has to try to stay in front of Morgan Lilly.
Yeah.
Make out Ray Massey. Massey just got by the 41.
Well, he's trying to chase down Ryan Carwile in his 1.7 seconds. And for these drivers, if they can make it, which they seem pretty committed to, if you're Ray Massey, this is starting to make me a believer, because Ray Massey's trying to chase down, and he has caught up about 3/10 through 1 and 2 right there.
Still looking at Chambliss's gap too. He's still got 8 seconds to Bailey Turner. Chambliss can make it. He's keeping decent time. He's not losing that much right now. Looks like Massey's coming in. He can't make it.
Oh, and he's going to lose it.
Too. And that is maybe speeding. I can't tell. I don't see the black flag, but he's going to lose himself a lot of time.
Well, that almost confirms things for me. Almost.
I would think he had to have topped off after having to repair damage. Still looking at the gap between Turner and Cabot too. It's down to just under 2 seconds, but I don't know if he has time to get him.
Yeah, we're sitting right around 6 laps to go as Ryan Carwile will cross the stripe this time by Morgan Lilly, 2 seconds back from the 71. This is about to get really interesting.
I really like where Chambliss is right now. He's still got a lot of time back to Bailey Turner, and he can just hope. If those drivers in front of him can't make it, I really like where the 3 is.
Yeah,
or the 9, excuse me, not the 3.
You take this draft help here. You got some cars on fresher tires. Yep. Take the shortest way around the racetrack as well. You see Chambliss all the way down to the bottom. Yeah, he might give up a little time, but it's short.
Here comes Morgan Lilly. He couldn't make it. He's 5 short.
5 laps to go. Ryan Carwile still out on the racetrack. Donnie Knight also in this hunt. 52 laps. He is 1 lap shorter than Chambliss and Carwile. He came in. This driver came in and topped out.
He was clutching there through turns 1 and 2 as well. I don't think Cabot's going to catch Bailey Turner. If these guys can't make it, 2 tires was the call. We're looking at 5 in a row, but 4 to go. 71
on Belky as well. You got to throw 71 him in there.
He's trying to make it as well. Cabot's going to have to get by him. Carwile's really backing it down now. And he's got an even bigger gap back to Chambliss now. 4 seconds if he wants to use it. Fuel racing's great. I love it. All the drama that goes with it. Oh, looks like he's
gonna come in.
He's 3 laps short. Brian Chambliss is gonna take the lead. And this is the only driver who's been clutching and coasting. He's now got about 5 seconds to deal with to the back of Bailey Turner.
On the clutch pedal for Brian Chambliss. Johnny Knight just behind him, also on the clutch pedal. Well, I say just behind, but it is 2.3 seconds. If the 9 can't make it, the 26 could get around him, and then you have another 4 in about 5 seconds. Man. This is about to get really interesting. Cabot is not catching up to the 24. This could be 5 in a row.
We'll see. Chambliss has a lot of time to use. Bailey Turner is only 0.2 seconds faster than him. Chambliss should realize that and back it down even further.
You cannot script this. If Bailey Turner gets 5 in a row, he has been in every scenario you could think of this season, all in 5 races.
Knight's not going to get there. It's really Chambliss versus Turner at this point. He's done this before. Chambliss is gonna try to do it again. He's not pitting. We're gonna get the 1 to go. Is it gonna be Chambliss or Bailey Turner?
Johnny Knight or Kite staying out on the racetrack as well. He's not gonna catch up. But can they make it all the way around?
He's still under power. I think he can coast from here even.
Well, he's going to have to. I think he's out of fuel.
Back on the gas under power. He's going to do it.
Brian Chambliss with the fuel strategy, and the number 9 is going to have a surprise victory. Here he is. Brian Chambliss is your winner at Atlanta. Holy cow, I never saw it happen to Donnie Kite, second.
What a great run for Donnie Kite, yeah. Those two did it to perfection.
34 positions gained for the 26, 17 gained here for Chambliss, and a surprise victory, something that Bailey Turner's been notorious for. The 9 did it better.
I don't think anyone had Chambliss ending his streak on the bingo card, but what a job. Like I said, in a league years ago, I saw him do this in a completely different generation of car. He just did it again. I don't think he has anything left either.
That's it.
That was all he had.
He's trying. That's it.
Now he's got nothing.
Post-race interviews with your top 3 in those final race results. Saturday Night Racing League and the Cup Series presented by M&J Distributors. We'll take a quick commercial break here on VSPEED. More coverage post-race right after this.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
What's up, everyone? I am Joshua Banks, driver of the number 35 Mako Tool Supra.
Comes back. He's going to send it to the inside. They're 3 wide for the race lead. They're going to win. Joshua Banks is going to win it. Unbelievable.
And also co-owner of M&J Distributors for the sponsor of Saturday Night Racing. So I just want to thank every single one of you for tuning into tonight's race. I hope you will put on a good show for you guys. I hope that you will enjoy it. So if you do, make sure you drop a thumbs up to VSPEED and subscribe to them, because they, as y'all know, if you haven't already, they put on some great broadcasts. So I'll make this short and sweet. The main reason for sponsoring Saturday Night Racing League is because I've been with these guys for a long time. I've raced with a lot of them. I've been through some rough times, some good times, and arguments and everything like that. But still, grand scheme of things, been through a lot of these guys, and I really do like where this league's going. I want to support it. They've given a lot to the league already, and I think, you know, I'm capable to support back. So that's what we're doing, and we want to keep this league free, for people to join, to have a good time, come in and race and just have fun, and that's what we're all about. So that's the main reason, and that's all I really have to say about it. So I hope you do enjoy the race, enjoy the season coming up. We are hopefully going to put on a great season for you guys. Also, make sure to check out my YouTube channel, Banksy the iRacer. Link will be in the description. Check out, and you can see my point of view, see what's happening on my end. If you want to watch it, it's completely fine. If not, no big deal. So come on over, hang out after the broadcast of this race, and hopefully we'll see you over there. If not, enjoy it, and I'll see you guys on track.
Back here live in Atlanta, a little bit of a technical error there, but we are back with our final race results and a surprise victory. I think everyone had kind of a clinical error here tonight. If you weren't Brian Chambliss and Donnie Kite, you missed the strategy here. 2 cautions, 3 lead changes from Atlanta. Chambliss gets the victory from 18th position, and Donnie Kite comes from all the way back at 38th. To finish in the top 3. Bailey Turner, our 4-time winner. The streak has been broken by a field strategy race that went green for probably 90% of it here today. We'll get a word with those drivers in just a moment. Adam Cabot, driver that led the most laps here, will finish in 4th. AJ Servato, solid day for him in the 33, 5th position. Alec Martinez battled in the top 3 a lot in the first half of this race, falls back to 6th with the strategy. Angelo Horonis, solid day for the 29, finishes in 7th. Kenny Kibbe, big gains for him. He'll gain 12 positions. And Austin Belke, just behind the most positions gained. He will finish in that 9th position. Chad Klinger rounding out the top 10.
And we didn't note him because the top 2 made it on fuel, but Belke was one of those drivers who did make it on fuel, so good job for the 89. Josh Adams had some contact with Bailey Turner, still a decent finish in 11th place. Joshua Banks, another driver, he made it on fuel. He salvaged something out of a poor day after he got damaged in that final caution. Got 12th. Teammate Case Lakatos, who almost won last week, gets a 13th. Dakota Floyd was top 10 all night, 14th for him. And Jeff Wright, it ends up working out okay for him, but it definitely could have been a better finish instead of 15th. Nick Happyack, 16th. Christopher Hodges, 17th. Max Cost, 18th. Ryan Carwile, he's going to be disappointed. He ran top 5 all race long, but missed the strategy at the end, finishing 19th. Nick Wood rounds out the top 20.
It's one of those things that if you don't commit to it right at the start of that run, you find yourself coming down pit road with 2-3 laps to go, and that's what happened to Carwile. 21st position will go to Morgan Lilly. Brandon Wallace, 22nd. Joseph McWhorter got a finish here today, but a little bit of damage, a little bit of problems for the 73. Keith Shoemaker in the 88 will finish 24th. Had to come down pit road late. Ray Massey, another one of those drivers that was on the long run, praying for a caution. He'll finish 25th. Mark McFadden, 26th. Ben Baffert, speeding penalty, unsafe pit entry, whatever you want to chalk it up to. I don't know exactly the mark there, but the 27th position finisher, probably a top 3 car here today. Michael Sturgill, another one of those drivers that should have been in the top 10 to finish just out. He'll finish 28th. Elliott Butler, rough day, 29th position. And J.R. Shepard, another top 10 car, back in 30th.
Yeah, Shepard, he's going to drop into points a little bit after that result. Matt Shanoski, he had a pit road penalty at the end, finishing 31st. Same for Reggie Ortega after spinning on pit road, plus the penalty, 32nd for him. He ran top 10 all day. Eddie Trejo, same thing, 33rd. Clark and Ekin, 34th in the 84. Another driver who had a pit road penalty. That caught a lot of people at the end of a race who weren't expecting green flag stops. Mike Sturgill, 35th. Logan Threlkeld had a tough race, finishing 36th. Stefan Davis, who got in that second caution, 37th. Caleb Weekly, he was having PC or internet issues, blinking a lot tonight, finishing 38th. Jordan Trask, also in the second caution, along with Bryce Shoemaker. They finished 39th and 40th.
And ignore, no offense to Hamp, Dohar, Vaklavik, Sanu, and Laughter, but these drivers were not in the field here tonight. They unfortunately still have to show up on the race results, and I am trying to figure it out. I really am. But we had Rob Denton with an early exit here today. He was the first car to have a problem there at the start. He I don't know. We'll have to get some information on that. But Denton early exit. Mahalski had problems, hit the outside wall, and Brian Hennings, who had some handling issues. So I can confirm here for Mahalski and for Hennings, it was probably a handling issue, lost control. But for Denton, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but he parked it at the end of the pit road, brought out our first caution. That will round out your field here today. But with that, we are going to go down track side. Connor Horn has caught up with your third place finisher. It's another podium finish, 5 interviews in a row for Bailey Turner.
I do have Bailey Turner. I saw you just went live. That was poor timing, so sorry about that. But well, you almost somehow did it again. You almost had 5 in a row, and if they didn't have the fuel to make it, you almost would have. But for most of the race, you weren't really in the battle for the lead. Saw the strategy on 2 tires, ended up working again. Were you worried about how the 2 tires would handle at a track this worn out, or did you just know it was going to work per usual?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a risky call. I was trying to stretch that first run as long as I could to still jump those guys, and hopefully, if anybody else had the same thought, be able to beat them to pit road. And yeah, I was falling off a cliff those last about 10 laps of the run, so it wasn't necessarily. I mean, it was going to be the winning strat against anybody up front, but and I called this in the odds earlier in the week that Brian is always so good here long run and always so good on the strategy, and him and I were chatting, and I had the same exact thought about fuel strat and things like that. I just didn't trust that we wouldn't get a caution there, and wanted to be on the right side of it. But yeah, happy for Brian. If somebody's gonna beat it, happy that he's the guy that did it. Man, that was a good streak we were on there. So hopefully we can restart it next week.
It's kind of unbelievable. You were in position to win this race again. Seemed like Dirty Air was definitely a struggle, and you did get up through the field. I think you started 17th, but it definitely took you a while to break through and get even close to the top 5. How much of a struggle was Dirty Air as the track cooled down throughout the race?
Yeah, it was disappointing to see the like you said, the track cooling down and just guys having just massive amounts of grip compared to the beginning of the race. Not that we had a ton, but yeah, it was just tough. We have guys just parking it up top and hogging up that top lane, and the next gen's all momentum racing to an extent. So the payoff for saving on the bottom for a long run really didn't kind of hit until 38 to 45 laps into the run. So it really wasn't it wasn't worth quite as much. You could go up there up top and burn your stuff up for a few laps to try to make time, but you're still just going to be stuck in that dirty air. So yeah, happy we made it through the field. I knew it was going to be a long day after starting 17th, but yeah, a little pressure, kind of got that. I wouldn't say monkey off my back, but you start thinking about that streak and wanting to keep it going, and now you can just kind of show up to a race and go for it. So, or not go for it necessarily, but not have to think about that. So, looking forward to next week.
Definitely don't have to think too hard about what you're going to do with your point lead. It's going to extend yet again after a top 3 finish for you. Congrats on another great run. Looking for 5 in a row, Bailey. Anyone you want to thank, shout out for this performance?
Yeah, all the boys over there at Sad Boys. Fun night. Shout out AJ and his girlfriend. Little inside joke there, but yeah, shout out to you guys on the broadcast as well. All the guys at SNR. All the sponsors, we appreciate everything everybody does to kind of put this on every Saturday night, and looking forward to next week. Hopefully we'll get back on top.
Great race tonight. Great race for you, and you almost did it again. Just 2 spots short, a few drops of fuel short. But congrats on the top 3, Bailey. We'll see you next week at this rate.
Appreciate it.
It is Bailey Turner, your 3rd place finisher. He almost made it 5 in a row, almost extended history, Briley, but just not quite close enough. But the real stars of the show are the guys who did make it on fuel, and you're going to have both of them. But first, a very good run for Donnie Kite, getting 2nd place after starting 36th, and you have him.
Yep, Donnie Kite in the broadcast booth, and this is the first time I've talked to you. I think we've been hanging out in the Juicy Spider Discord, JS Studios on the hood. 36 positions gained here. Tell us about the strategy. When did you commit to this? When did you think I can make it here to the very end?
When I pitted a lap before we went green, and it was like, I think a few people behind me did the same thing. I was convinced in that moment I was going to win the race if I went green. I didn't know the 9 was going to be able to save that extra lap. That was annoying, but I didn't mean to start 38th or whatever it was. I guess I didn't pay much attention. I was doing long run testing. I didn't do any like qualifying runs. So I just started all the way in the back.
Donnie, no one means to start back there, but you did, and you found a way to adapt to it. And that really kind of proves here. We've seen you up front in the other races, but tonight it showed that you have long run pace, and that's what you were working on to the start of this event. These previous weeks we've had a few more cautions than maybe we're used to here at SNR, but it really helped the 26 shine through tonight.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't been competitive in a points perspective, and probably since I was on console racing back in like 2020. But so this is so cool that I'm able to even be up here with a group like this. That was the whole purpose of us joining SNR, was to try to get better in these next gen cars. And I mean, I know it's only been like 4 or 5 races right now, but it really feels like it's paying off.
Well, don't sell yourself short. That's where everyone, I think, started, was back in the console days. If you were starting out on PC, it was probably NASCAR racing, but Papyrus carrying over to give us this great service on iRacing. Donnie Kite, anybody that comes to mind you want to shout out to put this 26 car on the podium?
You know what, man? Nick and I have been friends for a long time, and when he started up that little Juicy Spider Studios with Mike, they took a chance with me. I wasn't really fast. I wasn't competitive. And they said that they were going to sponsor me, and we were all going to work together to get this car faster, this number 26 Ford Mustang. And they've been with me for a couple of league seasons, maybe a few now. And I've pulled Josh Adams on board, and this whole formula that they've put together just on the racetrack has been incredible. I'm just really thankful to have them by my side, and them pulling good teammates in for me to learn off of. And we're so in tune right now. We're in a rhythm, and it really feels like we're just unbeatable. Granted, we don't have a checkered flag yet, but I think one is coming, whether it's me, Nick, or that 12 car, Josh Adams. Like, somebody's going to win a race soon.
Donnie Kite, second place here. Excellent strategy, and picks up 36 positions for second place here, week number 5. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the High Side Podcast, Bradley.
Absolutely will. This Friday, actually. All righty. Well, with that, we are going to move to Victory Lane, where Brian Chambliss, the track steward of the B-Class series in the Challenger cars, you come from watching these guys drive, all of the degenerates here for, at 745, you watched us drive around and wreck each other. You come out here and say, you know what? I figured something out, and you do it in an entirely different scenario. You saved enough fuel to run 57 laps here, Brian, and get the victory.
Yeah, it was interesting watching those guys. Got off to a little rough start, and then they got going. But here we were, a lot cleaner, and I love Atlanta. Atlanta is probably one of my more favorite tracks, especially old Atlanta. I tend to do really, really well here, and I've got a couple of league wins with these guys before in other places, and this track suits me so well. And didn't have the greatest qualifying effort, but I knew in the long run I was going to have some speed to compete. So if we could get long runs in, that I would end up being there at the end. And it may not necessarily been there at the end on speed, but it was fast enough to, get the win there. So that's really what I was looking for.
Well, we were talking about some of the strategy just before that pit stop for the 24 and the 17. But what we didn't factor in is that anyone can make it on fuel. When you came down pit road there on that last caution, did you already know that's what you were going to commit to?
Not when I came down pit road. I was kind of trying to figure out, pit road entry had been a little weird. There was some stack ups. People were getting in trouble there. So I wanted to make sure I didn't do that. But once I got back out there, I knew that we were probably going to be kind of tight. So I wanted to make sure that I was, clutching, do everything I could to save. And then there was some debate going on with my teammates in there. Yeah, I don't know if anybody can make it or save 5.5 laps of fuel. And I was looking at it and I was like, well, I didn't say anything, but I was like, well, watch me. It's, I was like, if this thing goes green, especially with me having a little bit of long run pace, I figure that I can save and still be a little faster than a lot of these guys. And that's kind of how it turned out. And then once those guys that didn't have that strategy started pitting and they were coming out, kind of around me or a little bit behind me, they weren't catching me very fast and weren't pulling away from me very fast. And at that point, I think I was like 15th. And I was like, man, I think I really, really got a shot at this thing if it goes green. And then, just counting down the laps, 15 to go, 10 to go. I'm running fourth and one of them pulls off in front of me. I was begging them to pull off. Please say you're pitting. Please say you're pitting.
Yeah, when you start checking those guys away and you start to believe. I mean, I wasn't a believer until we had about 10 laps to go. I heard you clutching. We rode on board with you, Brian, and we started seeing cars come down pit road. It started to convince me that you were going to win this race. I became a believer there right around that 10 lap to go mark. Brian, though, one last thing I gotta add on to this is that you add yourself to that list of multi-time winners here at Saturday Night Racing.
Yeah, that's an awesome thing. There's a lot of competitors here. There's a lot of credit that goes out to everyone that spends their Saturday night with us. We got some large fields, really large fields. I mean, even our B series is almost completely full. You saw that tonight, 39 guys. Tonight, we had, I think, 47 show up. We had to send some people home. So that's great to see. And all that's a testament to the people that race here. That's a testament to you guys up in the booth being here and spending your long Saturday nights with us. I know it's not easy. And a huge thank you to all of our sponsors. We would not be able to do this with what we have at the price that it takes to run this league. So I want to make sure I thank, Walking and Rolling Costumes, Juicy Spider Studios, Clark Print Shop, RSR Driver Cam, and then, last, our series sponsor for sure, M&J Distributors, Matco. And really, it's really, I'm happy to win, but I'm really happy with the group we have and the support that we have. And I want to make sure that our sponsors know we love them and we love what you guys do in the booth, and we love being here, and we'll continue to be here as long as continue to grow this thing. And never know, we might add another series, we might do something else.
Contingency sponsors there with FireStorm Racing and 29 Graphics. 29 Graphics covering a bonus there as well at the super speedways. And Brian Chambliss, you thanked them all. You did a fantastic job. Congratulations on the victory here at Atlanta. We'll look to see you in 1 week's time when we go road course racing, I do believe.
Well, I won't be seeing you then. Well, I'll be there, but I won't be in the booth.
Well, he'll be with us, whether it's vicariously living through the broadcast or maybe helping out with track, being a track steward. Whatever the case is, Brian, we appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you around next time we see you.
We'll see you then.
Victory lane here tonight at Atlanta. Fantastic finish, and it came down to fuel strategy. The cleanest race we've seen here in the Cup Series thus far, Connor Horn. We got spoiled last season. I think we're starting to creep back towards what we were used to having here in the Cup Series.
Yeah, that was definitely more like it. And even though it was probably the hardest car to drive all season long with the hot temps to start the race, yes, it cooled down during the race, but still very treacherous conditions at the beginning of the race. To only have 2 cautions was very incredible. This track just puts on performances, the 4th different winner in 4 races in the Cup Series. And I've seen a few fuel mileage races over the years. And I remember when Outsiders Racing League used to be a league run on Saturdays. He also got it done, and that was in the Xfinity Series car, and that was over 3 years ago. So he knows how to save fuel better than almost anyone else. So Brian Chambliss, that's his first win in the Cup Series, his 3rd win overall, because I believe he had 2 Challenger wins. And I think you mentioned he's the first one to get it done in both series, and possibly. So pretty incredible stuff from him regardless to save the fuel. Can't just can't sell Donnie Kite short. Great run for him. Belky a top 10, making it on fuel. Really great action, and we'll be back with the Challenger Series next week. They go to Talladega while the Cup Series goes some twisty track racing next week.
Yes, they do, and you can catch next week, March 15th at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time, live here on VSPEED at Talladega Super Speedway for the Challenger Series. We'll take a quick look at the schedule here for the Cup Series. It's on to Canadian Tire on the 15th. That will be at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch us all this action here on VSPEED as we have everything you could ever hope for, a variety all the way through the regular season with every track type that you can think of. Appreciate your time here on VSPEED. If you did enjoy tonight's broadcast, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You'll never miss a single race. We have flag-to-flag coverage of both the Challenger and the Cup Series. For everybody at SNR, Jeff Wright, Brian Chambliss, Chad Klinger, Reggie Ortega, all the race stewards, the track admins, Connor Horn for joining me up in the booth. You've been a great co-commentator. I couldn't think of anybody else that I'd want up here in the booth for the action we saw here at Saturday Night Racing League. For everyone at VSPEED, this is Bradley Cooper saying so long from Atlanta. We'll see you next week. Stay tracking.